Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, so in the description box, I'll put a link to a very short clip of Frank Warren on BT Sport having a quick chat saying how he wants Dillian Whyte. And he's reaching out to Dillian Whyte saying, come talk to me. You know, we would love to have you here. And you would earn more money here than you would anywhere else. And you won't get derisory offers. What he's putting mention to is the fact that Dillian Whyte said that Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, made him a low ball offer for April 13th. So Frank Warren would love to sign Dillian Whyte. And he's right to. He's absolutely right to. With Dillian Whyte, he's the kind of fighter that I believe that Frank Warren needs in his stable to take his brand, his Queensberry Promotions, BT Sport to the next level. He's that kind of fighter. He's got the personality and he will get in the ring with anyone. So it's a very, very good move if he was to get Dillian Whyte, of course. Now, I'm not saying Dillian Whyte should go. I'm not saying he shouldn't go. Dillian Whyte should do whatever is best for Dillian Whyte, right? The only thing, though, is that who is it that really Frank Warren can put him in with? I mean, I suppose he could put him in with Tyson Fury. That would be an interesting one. He's got Daniel Dubois. He's got access to Nathan Gorman. But I suppose them two are a bit early on in their career for a Dillian Whyte. But Frank Warren has contacts from around the world. And Frank Warren, as I've always said, you see, I may come across as a little critical of Frank Warren at times, but that's purely because years gone by, he was the man. You know, he was the promoter for UK boxing. You know, let's not make any kind of bones about it. He was, and he was putting on some magnificent shows. But over the last few years, I felt that they've been lacklustered, maybe because I was so used to the kind of high quality that he used to do. And compared to now, it ain't so much. He puts on quality, but unfortunately, we don't know who a lot of these guys are. And a lot of that is down to the fact that BT Sport, obviously, is a new brand, is kind of new into boxing. So not many people know a lot about those fighters. And of course, previously, they're fighting on Box Nation. Unless you got Box Nation, again, you don't really know who these people are. But on Sky Sports, most people have Sky Sports, right? So you can kind of gauge who it is, what it is that they do, all that kind of thing. So anyway, I think that Dillian Whyte, if he was to potentially leave Eddie Hearn, I mean, personally, I don't really see why he would, because how many pay-per-view fighters do you know are not world champions, never had a world title fight, and have had pay-per-views? Dillian Whyte's had 3 pay-per-views. The first one against Joshua back in 2015. Then just this year, he's had 2 back-to-back, Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora. So Eddie Hearn is doing some pretty good things with Dillian Whyte. Let's not pretend that he isn't. Probably about a year ago when Dillian Whyte was fighting the likes of Robert Helenius, I was very critical. You guys were very critical of the way that Eddie Hearn was handling Dillian Whyte's career. As in, didn't really seem to have his best interest. He always seemed to get Dillian Whyte fights on like a couple of weeks' notice, rather than him having a full training camp. And that was pretty much my only criticism of Eddie Hearn, was the fact that I didn't feel he was managing Dillian Whyte that well. But it could have been the fact that he's got a fight-by-fight contract. Now, with Frank Warren making these kind of videos, with the fact that there's rumours that he's going to be talking to PBC or whoever else as well, could this be that Eddie Hearn, and I'm not saying he hasn't offered before, maybe Dillian Whyte just hasn't offered, just hasn't accepted it. Maybe he likes the fight-by-fight deal. But maybe this might spur on Eddie Hearn to offer him a huge contract, as in a multi-year contract or a multi-fight contract. Because with Anthony Joshua, back in, was it October or something like that, just off the top of my head, he signed an extension to his current deal. And just for signing to extend his deal for 3 years, Joshua got £100 million, allegedly, of course. Listen, that's Joshua, but Eddie Hearn has all this access to DAZN money, Sky Sports, and all this kind of thing. So he may really want to look at this now thinking, hang on a minute, Dillian Whyte, I've managed to give him the opportunities, he's taken the opportunity. So as a team, we have made this guy a pay-per-view fighter. So he's got a lot of value now. So maybe it's time I gave him a real offer to keep him at Matchroom. Maybe this could happen. Maybe it already has happened. As I said, maybe Dillian Whyte just declined it. He doesn't want to be tied down. He likes to be a free spirit, if you like. He wants to go from promoter to promoter if necessary, if that's where the big fights are. When I had Dillian on the channel, was it about a week or two ago now? We mentioned this kind of thing with the fact that is it like a bit of an issue when potentially he could fight Tyson Fury, but where the deal isn't necessarily going to be about him versus Tyson Fury. It's going to be about Eddie Hearn versus Frank Warren, Sky Sports versus BT Sport. Things that fighters don't care about. Fighters don't care what camera is pointed at the ring. All they care about is there's a ring, it's got ropes on it, I've got boxing gloves on, that's my opponent, and I'm going to punch him in the face. That's all a fighter cares about. Okay, they don't care which camera's pointed, but there's politics. So even if he went to Frank Warren, there's still going to be the politics, okay? If he was to fight Joshua, there's going to be politics. Frank Warren would probably go 50-50 or no fight. He'll do those kind of things. I'm not saying he's wrong to do that. He should always try and get the best amount of money for his client. But Dillian Whyte is a good marquee name. And Frank Warren needs this kind of fighter, in my opinion, to help build his platform. Eddie Hearn can survive without Dillian Whyte. But Frank Warren needs Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte doesn't... He does need both of them, but he's free enough where he could flip between the two if he really wanted to. But if you give loyalty to one promoter, that's where you'll get the most out of them. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens with this one. What kind of deal could Frank Warren offer him that Eddie Hearn hasn't offered? It's difficult to say. Really difficult to say. I mean, I don't know how much... Because Frank Warren hasn't been too praising of Dillian Whyte. He was throwing cold water over him fighting Derek Chisora. Listen, a lot of that could be for the fact that it was clashing with Warrington and Frampton at the time. Yeah, okay, granted on that one. But he hasn't always been too complimentary about Dillian. He's never been too negative about him, but is it a case of, he looks at Dillian and thinks, not only have I got Tyson Fury, but I've got Dillian Whyte. But there again, would Dillian Whyte play second fiddle to Tyson Fury in Frank's mind? Because at the minute, Anthony Joshua is number one at Matchroom, and Dillian Whyte is second fiddle. He's the backup plan. And Dillian Whyte, a fighter of his status, should never ever be anybody's backup. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. So Frank Warren would love to sign Dillian Whyte. Do you think it's a good move for him? Do you think it's a bad move for him? Drop your thoughts below in the comment section, click the thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.